Hi, guys. Thank you for joining us at Ace Your Health Podcast. My name is Dr. Toxie. We're starting a summer immune series. This is going to be moderated by Barbara Grandison. You have known about her. She has her own podcast and her own Instagram following. The topic that we're covering today is processed foods. I hope you really enjoy this topic and let us know if you have any questions. Thank you.
All right, here we are. We're going to talk about processed food today. And we all hear you should not eat processed food, but it's everywhere, processed food. So it's really challenging, I think, to quit processed food. What I tell my clients is to slowly, or to do it one step at a time. You know, because it's hard to do it all at once. So pick one thing, start with that, and try to break the habit of one thing at a time. But I would like to hear what you think about processed food and where you would start. What do you think is, maybe two questions. Where would you start? And maybe this is the same question. What would you start with? Is that the same question?
Yeah, so we can take a look at the whole concept of processed foods. Processed food means it's been processed, right? And some kind of energy had to go in to process what was natural. What type of energy goes in creates the actual characteristics of that food, right? If you prey on the food and if you make it with love, it will taste sweeter. If it was made in a factory, made with the ideas of greed and selfishness, then you're going to feel that food. If somebody made it with idea of anger, then that energy will go in there. Now, when some energy goes, any type of energy, right? When let's say we're making a Twinkie or, a burger in a factory, then it's getting completely changed because it's happening with machines instead of happening with five senses, right? If I'm making a dough at home, or back in the day, we used to grind our grains. And you can do it in your own house. There are smaller machines that are out there for family size to grind your own grain to make it into a flour, because that flour is still fresh, it's brand new, and it hasn't lost a lot of its nutrients to air, temperature, and light changes that happen when the food comes from the factory to your house. It doesn't have preservatives, right? Nature doesn't have preservatives. It doesn't need them because there is a time that it decays. If nature says that it must decay in 3 hours, that means that there's probably something bad going to happen if you eat it after those 3 hours. And that's a sign that we have to take, and it's not even a science, it's a science. Like, you just have to understand that it takes nature, let's say, a year to make a coconut, but then that coconut stays pretty fresh for a whole year as well, right? It takes fresh for a long time. But then if you're looking at an apple, it will go, it will ripen and then it will rot within a day or two, or, depending on where it is and what type of apple it is. But if we look at apples at the store, they're sprayed with different waxes, different chemicals. There are different pesticides and herbicides that are there, and we're ingesting those things that are meant to kill something else. So that means that if there is a chemical that is meant to kill a biological process, and it is meant to destroy even a snail's nerves, if that same chemical goes in us, after a certain threshold, it will start killing our nerves, because that's the job of the chemical, because it's a neurotoxin to the bugs. Well, if it's a neurotoxin to the bugs, it's going to be a neurotoxin for us as well. So if it goes in our body slowly and slowly and slowly, then it's going to cause slow damage, and we will constantly be in the habit of fixing that damage. That means we're going to be using up resources much more to fix the damage that these unnatural things are causing that are going in us. So that's the world of processed foods. It's not natural.
So if you had so you went to the store and there was a conventional apple, and there weren't any organic apples, and you had a choice between a Twinkie and an apple with pesticides, because I know people are going to wonder that. What would you eat? You would still get the apple,
I would bring the apple home. I would put it in water. I would add some detergent on top. It will denature at least some of the, or it will segregate, or there is a it acts like a surfactant. What that means is it will help the wax come off of the apple.
Okay.
And then there are ozone machines that you can use to bring some of the pesticides and things apparently out of it.
Right.
You know, there's some data on there, but it can help with those things. And then I would learn how to grow that apple in my backyard.
Right.
So it might just take a couple more extra months, but you'll get your own apple.
Yeah. But I know the thing about, let's say, the Twinkie versus the apple, where your body's, if you eat the apple, your body recognizes that as
still natural.
It's still natural, and it can get the water, get the fiber, the nutrients it needs. It'll take it in as well. Versus if I had the Twinkie, my body would be like, what the heck is this?
There are thousands of
alarm, and it has to work to break that down. That's correct, right?
Yeah, there are thousands of phytonutrients that are inside any natural food. Hundreds of thousands of them. We haven't even quantified them or even made them into our nutrition label. Twinkie only has what it has on the nutrition label.
Right, and you can't even always read it.
It's such a marketing gimmick.
What would you say would be the worst processed food you can think of? I know there's so much to choose from. Just for fun fact, do you have any?
The worst processed food?
Yeah. Would you say like fried foods or like, I guess it's hard to say that, isn't it?
Yeah, something that comes from another animal that is fried.
That is fried. Or super life expectancy, shelf life, I guess, huh?
Something that has a lot of preservatives or artificial things that are in there that make it last long. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. Yeah. Absolutely.